The United States welcomes the agreement today for a ceasefire in Gaza. For it to hold, the rocket attacks must end, a broader calm return.
A ceasefire has been reached between Israel and Hamas. The rockets and airstrikes stopped officially at 9 p.m. Wednesday evening in Gaza. A draft of the agreement circulated to the press calls for an easing of the blockade on Gaza. The deal was announced today by Hillary Clinton and Egypt's foreign minister.
The people of this region deserve the chance to live free from fear and violence, and today's agreement is a step in the right direction that we should build on.
Post correspondent Ernesto Londoño joins us from Tel Aviv tonight. Ernesto, this deal, is it a change to the Israel-Palestine situation, or does it just mean there won't be rockets tomorrow?
For the time being, it appears that it heads off a ground invasion, which is something that both sides were very, very worried about.
And what did each side get? What are the terms of this, best we know?
It's too early to tell. I mean, for the time being, there seems to be a little bit of a truce with a basic understanding that the things each side was pulling for are things the other side is going to try to accommodate. So on the Hamas side, they wanted Israel to lift the blockade. They wanted freer movement of people and goods in and out of the Gaza Strip, which has been a long-time grievance. Israel says they wanted the rockets to stop. They wanted the civilians in the southern urban areas of Israel to no longer have to live in fear, to no longer have to sort of be at the mercy of these sirens going off at all hours of the day and living in fear.
Egypt has been a key player for decades in maintaining whatever level of peace there is there. Obviously now with a different situation, post-Arab Spring, a president that some have thought would change the calculus for peace relations with Israel. What did we learn in this about President Morsi and what Egypt's role going forward might be?
Well, on the one hand, President Morsi, who's an Islamist and ideologically is, pretty closely aligned with Hamas, showed a fair amount of restraint. On the one hand, he showed support for Hamas. His support was unequivocal. He sent delegations of his government, high senior officials, into Gaza as the bombs were falling, in what was an unmistakable sign of support for Hamas and the Palestinian cause. But he also, I think, played, by the looks of it, a constructive role. He sort of appears to have helped steer the parties away from an all-on conflict. The key question now is whether he's able to deliver, whether people see him as an honest broker, as somebody who's going to address issues as they come up and be able to deliver on these issues, be able to sort of put out fires as they come up in the future and prevent them from, again, triggering the kind of protracted, very violent confrontation that we've seen unfold over the past week.
So this is a deal between Israel and Hamas, but some of the most recent violence we've seen, there was a bus bomb where you are tonight in Tel Aviv that killed 22, was not Hamas's doing, best we know. It was another group. So what happens to this agreement if Hamas stops, but there are other third parties that continue the violence? Does the peace agreement hold?
It's a very good question, and I think it's been a long-standing problem that even if the leaders of Hamas agree to something in principle, they don't control the full spectrum of players on the Palestinian side. There's people with agendas that are even more hardline than Hamas's. And, if we look at the past history of this conflict, that's going to be a huge challenge going forward. And it's something I think that the Israelis are cognizant of and we'll have to have some patience for if this deal is going to hold.
Okay. Ernesto, thanks for joining us tonight. I don't know if you'll get to have turkey tomorrow or even a day off this weekend, but hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.